Good morning, everybody. How is everybody doing? I hope you're well. My audio seems like it's working. The circle is moving. Let me say hi to everybody here. Looks like all the regulars are here. I love it that this time works for everyone. I love that we are having these on a regular basis. Hi, Lizzie and Carol. Carol says in chapter 32 of Revenge, the Queen and senior royals warned Harry that his security would be stripped. And also in chapter 32, Tom Bauer, Megan was scheduling that interview in 2020, and her objective, yeah, yeah, she had a purpose and an objective and a goal. And that's what is so wild to me about Megan because she's so impulsive, but she sets in motion these plans, and for the most part, okay, the plans work. She gets to do what she was planning to do. It's just not well received. I don't know how she does it. I don't know. Hi, Teaspoon. Oh, that's okay. I hope everything's okay, Teaspoon. Today's live, I think, is gonna end up being cut into two different videos because I ended up on one topic and I went down one. I could probably make like three if I had time. This could have been like three or four videos, what we're going to talk about today. But I will try to clip them out and make shorter clips from them. And I hope your test goes well, Teaspoon. Um, Hi, Margaret. And hi, Kate. Hi, Steve. Thanks, everyone, for being here. You are all the best. Hi, Rosalie. Anything juicy to discuss? Yes, yes, there is. Yes, there is. Oh, I'm glad that it's around your lunchtime, Kate. Hi, Trish. Welcome and welcome to the community. You're going to love it here. Everyone is so kind and so um, compassionate towards everyone else. It's a beautiful, beautiful community. Hi, Kristen. Hi, the criminal imagination. Oh, thank you so much. I'm glad you're here. Hi, Pinky Lynn. Oh, Lizzie, thank you so much for gifting a membership. I appreciate it. I appreciate it so much. Hi, Linda. Okay, everyone. Actually, I forgot to load one thing up. So before we even get started, you're going to hear my regular, what I say every time, but where is it? Here it is. So I am going to ask everybody. Oh no. Oh no, you're getting a sneak preview. No. That was not meant to happen. Okay, so this is what I was going to say, that, if you sorry, I lost my train of thought. Um, in lieu of super chats or super stickers, I would love it if you would consider donating to the National Domestic Violence Hotline. Their information is on the screen if you need, any help from them. You can text them, you can chat with them on their website. And I hope you don't need them, but their link is also in the description, or the donate link is in the description of this video. So thank you again, everybody. I'm going to leave that on the screen while I say hello to a few more people. Hi, TMTB. Thanks for being here. Hi, I go by Gina. I've learned it now. Yesterday, I was like, I gobby what? And then I figured it out. I figured it out. Oh, good, Steve. It's a good time for you. That's good. Midnight for Margaret. Sorry it's so late. Oh, Rosalie was the 13th like. Thank you. And I would also ask if you could please hit that like button. Okay, so I'm going to tell you all what we're going to talk about today. So everything, I feel these news cycles, they're posting things that are related to one another, and we're building on a story. So a couple of days ago, I don't remember exactly what the story was, but oh, I know what it was. Richard Eden had talked about Megan's faux pas over her time in the royal family. And one of those was her appearance at the British Fashion Awards, where she wore uh, Givenchy, a French designer, I believe, to the British Fashion Awards. And then the next day, which was yesterday, a story came out about how horribly Meghan treated Jason Knopf, who is the royal aide in the picture on the left here, and how Meghan went to the British Fashion Awards and purposely kept Jason in the dark. The other royal aides knew that Meghan was going, but Meghan demanded that they not tell Jason. And in that same article from yesterday, it was saying by the time of the Australia tour, things between Meghan and Harry and Jason Knopf was already terrible. That was October 2018. And then we talked about how this was the video that I posted yesterday, and I'll get into that in a little bit, about how sorry, I lost my train of thought because I was reading the chat. Oh my goodness. Um, about how, supposedly the relationships were essentially over in October, but in December, 2 months later, Jason was arranging and giving information to Omid Scobie, again, risking his reputation when the relationship, according to the article yesterday, was essentially over. Well, today, this story comes out in the Daily Mail, why Meghan Markle threw a cup of tea into the air during her miserable relationship with royal aides. This incident happened while on tour in Australia. So, according to the article that was um, published yesterday, by this point, the relationship was terrible between Meghan and Jason Knopf. Okay, let me catch up on your chats. Um, The Criminal Imagination says, I know it's a lot, but I'm glad I got a live. I've followed your channel for my own accent training in English. I'm not a native. Oh, thank you. I have to say, some people say that I have an accent. Um, so, uh, I actually, I was born in the US, but my parents were not. And I also went to a private school of the same ethnicity that I am. And the majority of the people that I went to school with and my teachers were also immigrants. So when I was learning English, I was learning from immigrants. And it's just funny because I grew up here, but it really was, I spoke a lot of my own language, watched a lot of American TV, like everything was in English and my school was mostly in English, but the people teaching me English were immigrants. And I mean, I was born here, so I grew up with the language. But, anyways, that's a long story. That's neither here nor there. Hi, Andrea. Thanks for being here. Hi, Ivy. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being here. TM says, I once saw someone throw a cup of tea. They were throwing a fit, an adult. Yeah. There are literally no consequences for her behavior. I just don't understand. I don't understand it either, Kristen. I was talking to my mom about this because how is it that truly terrible people, like awful, malignant, toxic, evil people, so many of them, there's like no consequence. In fact, they seem like they're living the good life. I don't know why that's the case. And then I remind myself that it's a prison in her mind. Her brain is like, she sees, um, she'll never be happy because she'll always want more. She's never going to be satisfied. She's always wanting, always wanting, always wanting. And people keep turning away. And in her head, people are betraying her left. And I mean, that's a prison. That's a prison. So I try to tell myself that. Um, I go by Gina says, I don't know why people don't speak more on MM being caught lying in court. Yeah, I don't know. They really should. Most of us are immigrants anyways. Yep, yep, yep. Mama Sunflowers. Hi, Mama Sunflowers. I'm glad you're here. Almost missed it because I'm in the kitchen again. Well, enjoy your time in the kitchen. Pinky Lynn says, I can hear your accent sometimes a tiny bit. My ex husband used to say, he used to say I have an accent. And this was him like flirting with me. Okay. This was in the beginning when things were good. He would say, "You have an accent." And I'd be like, "I don't have an accent." And he would say, "You say that you don't have an accent with an accent." So it's funny. And Lizzie and Carol are also reminding all of you to please hit that like button. I would appreciate it so much. Kate says it's so hard to enforce consequences on narcs um, because of fear of backlash. Yeah. I'm almost there, so right now, I'm almost at 50K. I'm at 44.6. We're getting there, it's so, so, so close. Gabriel hi, Gabriel, thanks for being here. Wasserkotzi, I hope I pronounced that right. I call Megan the pit of want. Yes, there is, like, a severe, like, um, deficiency there. There's a hole there that will never be filled. It would be exhausting to be Megan. She's too much. Everyone has an accent. Lizzie says, "Yeah, let's get me to 50. I'm almost there, everybody. I'm almost there." The criminal imagination says, "I am from India and I have Megan exhaustion. How can someone have everything and destroy it on their own?" It's I think it's all driven by never being satisfied with what they have. So they always want more, and the method they use to get more just destroys. They How can one person destroy so many lives? And when I say that, I'm saying that about Megan, but I'm also saying that about my stepmom. I've seen that tornado come through. It is destruction, and it's one person who destroys families, who destroys childhoods. It's it's wild. It's wild. Hi, Lynn from Liverpool. Thanks for being here. Hi, Mary. Hi, Mary. Oh, that Lizzie says in that photo she looks just like her mother, the same jawline. Yeah, she really does. Hi, Alice. Thanks for being here. Okay, everyone. So let's get into the article because I have so much for you all today. So like I went down 10 rabbit holes, I want to say. Okay. So the article begins to rapturous applause. Prince Harry and Meghan took the stage at the closing ceremony of the 2018 Invictus Games in Australia. The games capped off a royal tour of Australia, which by all accounts had been a resounding success. Now, I want to continue with this perspective in mind that whoever wrote this article is saying that by all accounts, this was a successful tour. This was an amazing tour. Before we get into it though, I wanted to go and look up the closing ceremony of Invictus. So I'm going to have that playing right now. There's no audio to it. I just wanted to clip together a bunch of the moments from that closing ceremony. Megan did give a speech on that night. I haven't watched the speech yet, but I will. But look who's there. David Beckham's there. Here is Megan's speech. And Harry's speech, I listened to just a little bit of it. Let's play that again. What? Ooh. Okay, here. Let me play that again while I get to what I was going to say. So, Harry's speech, I was listening to it just kind of in the back as background noise, and he said something that had my antennas go up, and let me play that for you now. I'm going to go on mute.
They want to live rather than just be alive.
Well, does that remind anyone of anything? It totally does. Totally reminds me of something, and I'm gonna play it now, so keep in mind, this is October of 2018. What I'm about to show you, I believe, is September 2019, so a full Year later, I'm gonna go on mute again, so that you can all hear. Wait, did you all hear it? Maybe let me play it one more. Let me play it one more time.
They want to live rather than just be alive.
So he's talking about the people that are participating in the Invictus Games, and this was October 2018. And this is something Megan said October of 2019.
For a long time to H. That's what I call him.
Yeah.
Um, it's not enough to just survive something, right? Like, that's not the point of life. You've got to thrive. You've got to feel happy.
Wow. I mean, talk about two people that are just feeding off each other. And I have to tell you, when I saw this clip, it was around the time. So very, I wasn't following Meghan and Harry for a long time. When my soul dog passed away in March of 2024, so literally a year and a half ago, that's when I started watching Harry and Meghan because I couldn't watch regular TV. I couldn't predict what was gonna be on. I'm still very sensitive, and I just couldn't watch anything that was unpredictable. But I knew Harry and Meghan were gonna be ridiculous, and so when I saw Meghan say, "It's not enough to just survive something," and you're in a place in your life where you're literally fighting to survive, like, the grief I felt was so hard that hearing Megan say this was infuriating. It's a little less infuriating to me now, but it's still insensitive to people who are in such depths of despair that they're trying to survive. Oh, this bothered me a lot. So let me get into your chat. Let's see what everyone is saying. She's an olive green again. Pinky Lynn says, "It wasn't until I started listening to RV, I didn't know my mom is a malignant narcissist. I just called her crazy, but it all makes sense now." And Pinky, you let me know. I may miss it because the chat is going by fast, but you let me know, was being able to put a name on it validating? For me, that was the beginning of my healing because once there was a name or a label that was put on my stepmom, it made me realize the beast I was dealing with and that it wasn't me, that there is a clinical explanation for it. Let me know if you felt that too. GM says, "Wanted to say you have helped me in my field. I learned more NPD terms that were never covered in my master's. Wow. How I'd love to visit with you, my elderly mama, malignant NPD, my life's heartache." Well, GM, thank you so much for that compliment. I have to tell you, I've learned a lot from everybody here as well, and I learned through my research. I didn't know a whole lot about it, but I have to tell you, you know, like I was saying before, being able to put a label on my stepmom and also creating this channel and having this community has really been so helpful for me. And I want to thank everybody that's here for your support, for watching the videos, for joining the chats, for liking and commenting. And I just appreciate all of you so much. Wazir Kotzi says one of my parents is borderline with narc tendencies. Yeah. Yeah, it can be close. The all of those cluster B personalities, and the behaviors are very similar, which I think is lucky for us because it's easier to know when you're around someone that's cluster B. Hi, Justijen. Hi, hi, hi. Oh, hi, Agatha. Thanks for being here. It's been a long time, Agatha. I think so too. Ivy of Housepark says, "Imagine you have paid for this," and then he rambles on. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. I go by Gina. This was gross. This was in South Africa when there are real victims out there. And the word she's saying, it's not enough to just survive. Sometimes it isn't just enough to just survive. I thought it was incredibly insensitive. Jessica Jen says, thrive like that MLM the Watts family worked for. Yeah. Yeah. The poor Watts family. Well, the poor Watts family, except the husband, that guy, evil, evil personified. She was on tour here. Yeah, she could have talked about the charities, but she made it about herself. And at this point, she's setting up for the exit. This is October 2019. Everything is already in the works. I mean, just 2, 3 months before this, they were at the Lion King premiere and trying to sell themselves off as being able to do work. They're available for work. Hi, blah, 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 and Marissa. Hi, Mary. I'm not sure if I said hi to you, but hello. Oh, Kipper, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see. Yeah. Sending you lots of hugs, and I'm so glad you are a breast cancer survivor, and thank you so much for being here. And I'm glad I'm not the only one that's like sensitive about what she said here. Hi, Sunflower and SFE. Thanks for being here. Um, Not me. Okay, thank you. I figured that's what you meant. Um, Mars says so much of what she says is condescending to those of us that struggle. Yeah. Imagine living in a palace and saying it's not enough to just survive. Girl, just go survive, okay? Even if you're palace adjacent or whatever, please, please. Okay. I'm gonna get into the next part. So, my goodness, today, today was what I started prepping last night, and then this morning it was a rush of information. So here we go. Let's continue. The article says there was a huge buzz around the newlyweds, with the Duchess of Sussex having just announced she was pregnant. It was the start of what was dubbed Meghan Mania. The press were equally positive in their coverage of the trip as they praised the newly minted royals on their first major tour. However, behind the scenes, the Sussexes' relationship with the royal aides was not so rosy, and the couple's obsession with how they were being perceived by the public allegedly led them to clash with their team. Writing in his bestseller titled Revenge, Tom Bauer claimed that in contrast to the glowing photos of Harry and Meghan being recorded daily, the mood in Sussex headquarters was miserable. So let's stop here and just chat about this. There is a disconnect between what the press is describing, what Tom Bauer is saying, and this got me thinking about how Harry described the Australia tour, that Meghan was doing too well, that there's going to be consequences to this because she's making it look so easy, like Princess Diana made it look so easy. So there's just so much cognitive dissonance, I feel here, that the press is saying everything is great. Tom Bauer, I think, is the the one whose perspective is probably the most, um, I don't know, accurate, I wanna say, the most unbiased. I believe Tom Bauer um, over the other sources, and things were not rosy. Things were not. Let's get caught up on the chat. Sorry if I miss your chat, everybody. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Yep, that's right. That's right. Hi, McMeow. I know, girl. Just survive. Just go survive in the palace and complain about not. You guys, I'm gonna joke about something else. I hate driving. Okay, I hate driving. If I could have someone drive me everywhere, I that would be the life. And this woman's going on complaining they took my driver's license. Girl, please, somebody chauffeur me around, okay? I don't want to drive. Someone drive me. My goodness. And then it wasn't even true. But the things some people are Some people are just so ungrateful. Mary says, I think being at a place of poverty and many other ills, wouldn't it make you feel so blessed? Not that you need sympathy. Absolutely. Absolutely. Hi, Harper's one nighter. Let's see. Sorry if I missed anyone. Yeah, it took some while, but people started to see her narcissism. And Kipper, I'm not sure if you're talking about Megan or if you're talking about something that you've experienced, but it takes time. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Justa Jen says, thank you for doing all this prep work for the daily chats. Okay, I have a secret, you guys. Actually, it's not going to be much of a secret once I tell you. I was laid off last week, so I have a lot of free time right now. So that's why I've been doing the daily chats at 9. It gives me a routine. At 7 a.m. I'm awake, prepping for the live. 9 a.m. we do the live. Then in right after that, I start making my clips and I start looking for jobs to apply for. So there's a routine. So we'll see how long this goes on. We'll see how long before I get a job. So we'll see. Kate says, once I labeled my ex as a narc, yes, yes. Once you get the label, it all makes sense. Kate says, I became more accepting and was able to move on. I was misdiagnosed as having BPD, but I was actually the victim of his bad behavior. Kate, the same thing happened to me. The same thing. So I was misdiagnosed, and because the the turmoil the narcissist puts you through, you're walking on eggshells. In my case, my ex, in a matter of 4 years, 2 of those years being married, he left me 9 times. Now look, I went back every time, so I take complete responsibility, but when you're in a place like that, how can you not have a fear of abandonment, right? Walking on eggshells all the time. So I think that's why I was misdiagnosed, because I was so scared of abandonment. But then eventually I had a lifesaver of a therapist who in our first session said, "No, you're not. You're not BPD." And just hearing someone say that was very validating. I didn't realize until like 9 years later that he was a narcissist, but recognizing that my fear of abandonment was justified. Who wouldn't be? Who wouldn't be? Hi, just me. Thanks for being here. I used to love driving. Just to Jen says that I moved to SoCal. Exactly. I hate driving. I wish we would get on board and have what is it? Teleportation devices. Can we please just have like just I know I fantasize about the teleportation devices too much, but imagine you could have a job anywhere in the world because you could just step into your teleportation device and appear at work. And when I want to go to Disneyland, I can just go. I just go. I don't have to worry about traffic. I don't have to worry about paying toll roads or whatever. I don't need a car. I won't need a car. I don't need gas. I don't need car insurance. It would just be great for everybody if we could just create these teleportation devices. It's to everyone's benefit. Yeah. Yep, yep. Okay, guys. I'm sorry if I missed anything from anybody, but let's continue with the article. It isn't scientifically possible. Don't tell me that opinion. You mean to tell me they can't like break me up into a bunch of pieces of atoms or whatever and just boom me somewhere else? That would be amazing. That's what I would love. We are so lucky, just me. I agree. We have such a great community here. Everybody is so loving and kind and genuine, and yeah, it's amazing. All right. So let's continue. The article says the royal author wrote that one cause of the tension was when Meghan decided to bring her own people down under on top of the palace staff. Although the couple had arrived with 4 staff, Samantha Cohen, Amy Pickerel, Heather Wong, and Marnie Gaffney, Meghan had decided she wanted to be surrounded by people she trusted, Bowers said. Now let's put the puzzle pieces together. So we heard from yesterday's article that Harry and Meghan had already had a falling out with Jason Knopf. So they've fallen out with one. We know that they used Samantha, or Meghan used Samantha Cohen and Amy Pickerel to triangulate Jason Knopf during the British Fashion Awards, where she demanded that they not tell Jason that she was going there. And now we're hearing it wasn't just with Jason that the relationships had soured, because basically Megan is saying here she didn't trust these people. That's why she needed to bring her own people. It's a lot. If I'm not mistaken, please let me know in the chat. When they went to the Fiji market, that was an event that was hosted by UN Women. Several years before they went to the Fiji market, Megan wanted to be an ambassador, I believe, for UN Women, but the head of the UN Women, and I'm going to maybe pronounce her name wrong, Miss or Doctor, I don't know what her title is, Nyamanyaro, I think is her name, wouldn't give Megan the ambassadorship, but gave her one title beneath it, I believe. And Megan got angry and pretty much quit. So when she went to this UN Women Fiji market, because she was offended by not getting the ambassadorship, she was very angry when she saw that the women that were there were wearing UN Women t-shirts or shirts, because they were it was an initiative by UN Women. Megan was supposed to stay there for a prolonged period, but she essentially walked in and left. I did a video about this a while back. If I'm not mistaken, there were reporters there that saw Megan yell at someone, allegedly, one of her aides, and this aide was later found crying in the car. And if I'm not mistaken, it was Amy Pickerel who was the one crying in the car. So I'm going to check in the chat to see if anyone has confirmed that. Oh, thank you. Oh, wouldn't that be great, Harper's, if I could just do this full time? I would love it. Oh my gosh, someday revealing you will be beamed up. Thank you, Ivy of House Park. Wouldn't it be amazing? Oh my goodness, it would be amazing. Yes, she flew Jessica and Ben Mulroney. That's coming up next. Alice says, well, she needs 80 people to make her show. So I'm not surprised she needed so many people on her tour. Lynn says, that's what I loved about the Harry Potter books, apparition lessons, but knowing my luck, I'd be splinched. Melissa says she didn't trust them, more like she didn't want to listen to them. Yeah, yeah. Oh, thank you so much, Palatinata, for watching. Hi, Eva. Hi, Amy. Yep, she only stayed for 8 minutes. Yeah. Yeah. Harper's One Nighter says, I haven't been able to drive for 1.5 years due to my neighbor. Oh, my goodness. Oh, wow. I'm sorry to hear that, Harper's, and I'm sending you strength and peace. Okay, it was Amy Pickerel and The Witness by Rebecca English. Thank you, Carol. So it was Amy Pickerel. So this was the same trip. Megan made Amy Pickerel cry, because when they were on their tour of Australia, I believe they went to Fiji as well. Yeah, the whole thing was badly managed. Alice says, for two people so obsessed with their PR, they're so tone deaf about making the best of things. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, McMeow. Summarized, I mean, who needs more words than that? There it is. Oh my goodness. Yay, Kay, I'm glad you're here. Glad you're here. Hi, Felix. Thanks for being here for a 2-day babysitting week. Hope you all have a great day. Thank you. And I hope I'm not sure if that means you're babysitting or if someone else is babysitting for you, but I hope it's a good time. I hope it's a good time. Okay, let's continue. And this is exactly what Carol was saying. At her request, Jessica and Ben Mulroney were flown in from Canada to provide round the clock support. Mulroney doubled as Megan's stylist as she worked her show stopping wardrobe. I want to say that Jessica Mulroney did a good job dressing her if it was her that was dressing her around that time. For the most part, I want to say. Um, Kay says, "I feel I was robbed because in the 2000 they were advertised as flying cars and teleportation. I feel robbed too. I feel robbed too. I was in elementary school and that was the promise of the 2000s." Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so what I do want to say here is that just a couple months after this, so this was October, we're seeing here in black and white, it's being said that Jessica was there to be Megan's stylist. One of the things that Megan was very angry about that was written in Omid Scobie's and Carolyn Durant's book was that Megan absolutely hated that Jessica was being called her stylist, that Jessica was never her stylist, that she styles herself. So I think the offense to that Megan is taking is that she wants to be able to take credit for what she was wearing. And I think that's why she has such an offense, because I don't understand why, of all the things to be offended about, the press saying it's this. And notice that it's to provide round the clock support. Essentially, they were at Megan's beck and call. And uh, that's terrible life to live, in my opinion. And please tell me, what support does she need? I don't know. Maybe I'm not giving enough credit to the amount of um I don't know. I don't know. Does Catherine need round the clock support? I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking too much about it. Let's see. Back to the Future, the second light. Where's my self drying clothes? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. All right, you guys, I'm going to take a quick break really quick. I'm going to take a sip of my coffee, but I'll be right back. Okay, everyone, I'm back. And look, there's 126 of you here. Thank you for everyone for being here. And if I could just ask that you hit the like button, I would appreciate that so, so, so much. Okay, let's continue. The article says with the Mulroneys by her side, Megan was reportedly abrasive towards her four female staff and even towards the local British diplomats. In one particularly dramatic outburst, Bauer claimed that Megan allegedly threw a cup of tea in the air. This gives me pause because the implication here is that if the Mulroneys weren't there, she wouldn't be so abrasive. So why is it that when Megan feels she's supported, that there are people there that have her side, her bullying comes out? Why is that? This is something I think I'm going to explore in a future video because I really want to understand. I want to understand that. You would think there would be shame. You wouldn't want to do it in front of other people. But here it's saying the exact opposite. Yeah. Blah, blah, blah says Jessica was a good friend to Megan and she used Megan also. Carol says Jessica winded her up and had no problem exploding. And this is the red flag here. This is why I'm critical towards Jessica because Megan's bad behavior didn't decrease when Jessica was around. In fact, a lot of the times we've heard of Megan bullying people, including a 3-year-old child, Jessica was there. Mary says maybe to prove she's in charge and showing authority. Yeah, it totally could. Totally could be that, Mary. Um, Carol says mean girls in the room. Yeah. TM says bullies often bully for an audience. They are cowards deep down. Yeah. 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 I don't know. So I wanted to dig into this a little bit deeper because the mainstream media doesn't really go into this cup of tea in the air. So I went on Reddit. I had to, because actually, this was the second story that I had heard about Harry and Meghan that got me to start paying attention. So this was just published on Reddit 18 hours ago in response to the article that we're going through, and it's about Concert Otherwise 79 posted it. Why Meghan Markle threw a cup of tea into the air during her miserable relationship with royal aides. Bitter Entertainer said the rumor was that the tea was actually thrown at a palace aide, an Australian who used to work for the Queen, can't remember her name. The same woman who was the subject of palace investigation into Meghan's bullying claims. I think Tom Bauer did not want to be drawn into that hornet's nest, thus threw tea in the air, in quotation marks. Edit Samantha Cohen, the alleged victim of tea throwing in Australia. So I hadn't heard before that it was Samantha Cohen. I had read and I looked all over. I had seen on Reddit something along the lines of someone walked in and saw the moon bump allegedly laying on the bed. And that's when Megan got mad and threw the tea. This is what I had read one time on Reddit, and I went looking for it and I could not find it. If any of you have ever read that, feel free to drop that in the comments. The next Reddit post, okay, everyone get ready. Get ready to laugh. This is going to be great. Harry's Implants, hilarious name, says, yep, Aussie here. The story down under is that she threw a cup of tea at someone not in the air. The person was paid out in compensation and for their silence. Just Us then says, I didn't throw it at anyone. I threw it in the air and they were in the way. I can see that as her defense. And then here we go. This person says, he ran into my knife. He ran into my knife 10 times. P. Quince says, and this is directly from Chicago. The hilarious thing is, as I was reading this post, I didn't throw it at anyone. I threw it in the air and they were in the way. I thought of that Chicago scene and then I scroll down and I see this post from P. Quince and from Kiwi Love. Hilarious. Let me catch up on your chats because I think a lot of you probably have a lot to say about this. Oh, hi, Sandra. Thanks for being here. Sandra says it was true about the tea throwing incident as we heard about it in Australia. Oh, Jay, good luck buying a car and congratulations on getting a car. Alice says, I think they were so desperate to show that they were as good, better at royal duties than Catherine and women, but they just made things worse. Yeah. Yeah. Opinion says Megan and now she was pregnant in Australia. That could have been a manipulation as to why she was behaving as such as to stress and hormones. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. Carol says it took Samantha Cohen 18 months to get a replacement for her position. Have any of you heard that it was Samantha Cohen that the tea was thrown at? I know, Lizzie. I didn't know that either. Sandra says it was a member of staff from Admiralty House that had the tea thrown. Yeah. So embarrassing. Yeah. Melissa says it's so odd that she was barely pregnant but already clutching her little tiny pooch. I made a clip once that I think was the first time that she cradled the baby bump in Australia. I'll have to go find it and remake. I've gotten a little bit better at adjusting quality and making the videos look clearer. So I have to go find that clip and make it again. Carrie says, I'm on Reddit all the time and I haven't heard anything about the moon bump laying ground. Yeah, I went looking for it and I couldn't find it. I don't know. I don't know. I remember seeing it, but who knows my memory? I don't know. I don't know. Mystified heard that it was Samantha Cohen. Yeah. Oh, TM says, "Imagine someone tripping over your moon bump." Allegedly, yeah. Amy says, "All I know is Megan was definitely not pregnant. The moon bump incident sounds plausible." Yeah. Yeah, I tried looking for it before this video, I couldn't find it, so that is all allegedly, and yeah. Agatha says, "Can anyone throw a teacup at me?" Oh my goodness, I hope nobody ever does. That was a food baby, yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you wanna check, I don't wanna say it. I don't know, should I say it? Yeah, I'm pregnant about 1 PM every day. Allegedly, I'm just kidding, I'm just joking. Um, blah, blah, blah says she didn't want the baby bump to drop down to her knees again, so she hung on. Yeah, Mystified says, "I also heard she wouldn't allow anyone to dress her during her entire pregnancy." Wouldn't be surprised. Wouldn't be surprised. Allegedly. Okay, let's continue. The article then says the tension within Sussex headquarters was apparently partly caused by the Duke and Duchess's obsession with their media coverage during the games. Bauer wrote Meghan's anger may have been partly fueled by Harry. Every night, he trolled social media, searching for snide comments on the internet. Every morning, he and Meghan turned on their phones to surf the internet. Thin skinned, they were inflamed by the slightest criticisms. Then, both bombarded their staff with demands for retribution and removal of the criticism. This is something we read about Jason Knopf, that he wasn't removing the negative comments fast enough. That was one of their complaints about Jason Knopf. Another thing I want to research is this thing that how they're playing off of each other, how Harry, instead of calming Meghan down, is giving information that's going to fuel her anger, and it's like a downward spiral for the two of them. This is something I want to look into specifically about this incident here, about what was happening in Australia. The article continues, despite the stories having emerged in the American press, Harry allegedly blamed British newspapers for those reports. Earlier in the article, I didn't want to post the entire article because it was kind of long, but the stories they're talking about here are regarding Thomas Markle Sr. The article continues and says, Bauer said, but the only jibe he could attach to the accompanying British journalist was a report that one of Meghan's outfits cost £19,660. As a sign of Meghan's intentions, she also wore a Serena Williams brand jacket. Soon afterwards, it was promoted on Instagram. So the implication here is that Meghan was merching Serena's jacket. The coverage still angered Meghan. Oops, sorry. The article continues and says this coverage still angered Meghan, causing her to become irate and blaming the senior royal aide, Jason Knopf, and his staff for not suppressing the stories Hollywood style. I wanted to put an image of the thumbnail regarding the video where we went into what happened between Meghan and Jason Knopf in fall to late 2018. Yeah, let me catch up on comments. Of course, they read everything, Alice says. Harry talks about history repeating himself. Diana would have all the papers on her table every day and count the pictures of herself. Pity he inherited the trait. I see this comment, Steve. I don't know if I missed any. Um, I don't know why it says they're failing. Yes, Carol, I was thinking this word exactly, but I wasn't sure if I was thinking of the right thing. There was also someone who in my comments a while ago had asked me to do a video about um, this topic. I just don't know a whole lot about it, but perhaps I could start broaching it because of and use this as an example. But yeah, it's a Folie à deux, I hope I pronounced that right, is a shared psychotic disorder or shared psychotic disorder, refers to a rare condition where delusional beliefs are transmitted from one person to another, typically within a close relationship. Yeah, yeah. Marching Meg, there it is. Yeah. Let's see. Megan failed to understand there is a difference between royalty and Hollywood. Yeah. Mystified says Megan is still mad that paparazzi never chased her the way they did Diana or Catherine. They did it in New York, allegedly. No, they didn't. No, they didn't, in my opinion. Um, yeah. Okay. Let's continue. Her mistake, she would lament, was believing them when they said I would be protected, Bauer wrote. He added, unsurprisingly, Meghan's fury influenced Harry's attitude towards the small British media contingent accompanying the couple. Thank you for coming, although you weren't actually invited, he snapped. He also brusquely snapped unprovoked abuse at a TV reporter. Can you believe this? Thank you for coming, although you weren't actually invited. What do you think your job is? What do you think pays for well, I mean, I'm not saying, I don't know exactly how the finances work in the British monarchy, but of course the press is gonna be there. I just don't understand the disconnect here. Yeah, let's see. Sandra says the tea incident was on the morning show on Channel 7 and it came up as an online article in the newspaper and I saw it. It was leaked by the staff from the Admiralty House. I wish we could talk to them. Agatha says my narc sister tried to drag me into folie à after my brother died. She did not succeed. I'm sorry to hear that about your brother passing away and your sister trying to drag you into it. Yeah. Protected, lying about her true behavior. Mystified says, absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. Oh, oops, there. Mary says, Harry is, you guys can read it. Carol says, the palace made the intention to make it successful. Yes, there were mistakes on both sides. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, okay. Now I'm going to start prepping for what we're going to talk about next, but it's going to take me just a little bit because we're going to look at a couple of video clips and I just need to set them up. Let's see. Sorry everybody. I think there's 4 of them. There's number 2. Number 3. And the 4th. Okay. Rosebud says, I wonder if Harry will survive all of this. He needs a support system. That I think is the most important thing. And he doesn't have one right now. From the outside looking in and from, the limited information that we do have, he doesn't seem like he has much of a support system. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about this again. So I'm just going to go through a couple of images that are setting the stage basically for the videos that we'll watch right now. I tried to look for anything that was controversial associated with this Australian tour with Day 4 specifically, and I couldn't find anything. My point in saying that is the press coverage doesn't seem to have been negative. you can see this article was published in 2018. It's going to describe day 4. So, what we were talking about earlier, that they were searching the internet and finding all of these things, and Harry snapping at the press that were there with them, "You weren't even invited here." It's just wild. It's just wild how much they focused on negative things rather than all the positive. Okay, so we're going to start with the second engagement that they did on day 4, where they paid a visit to MacArthur Girls High School. Here, Megan told how her upbringing at an all girls school and her first job taking out the trash made her the person she is today. So she meets with some students. Um, this same article describes the dress that she wore. And then finally, they close out the day by visiting the Australian Labor leader Bill Shorten and also the Prime Minister Scott Morrison, and the royal couple with the Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison and his wife Jenny Morrison. So, are you all ready to look at some clips? Let's get into it. I'm going to try to put it in order. Let's start with this one. Okay, so in this one, they're walking into the school. Megan has a technique. She walks first and she goes to his right. She goes to the right because if she's on the right, then Harry can't lead the subsequent handshakes. I did a short about this a couple of days ago. And in that particular video, Harry goes in first to shake hands, and Megan steps to his right, not allowing him to continue first. So let's watch this one, and maybe I can pull that video out and we can watch it. So Megan goes, Harry is like, where do I even go? And Megan shows him where he should stand. He looks so confused, and this is their first major royal tour. This is what, 5 months after their wedding. This is October of 2018. That's a good point, Mystified. That's a good point. Yeah. Hi, Trimble. Thanks for being here. I'm glad you're here. Yeah. Yeah, Megan. Megan is dominant, controlling. Yeah, I would say that. Okay, while you are all chatting, I'm going to go see if I can find that clip really quick because it would be nice to be able to show you what the one I was talking about. Mhm. I have so many clips. I wish I could snap my fingers and have my clips better organized. I wish, because there's so many. Oh my goodness. I don't know if I'll be able to find it. Let's see. Is there a way to organize it by date? I don't know. Okay. I don't think I'm going to be able to find it. But when I repost this video, I'll put the clip in there so you can see which one I was talking about. Okay, so then let's go to the next clip, and we have Megan with the blank stare. Oh my gosh. Like, this is not someone who's paying attention. This is someone who is just setting up for the cameras. Yeah. And then when she's talking to the students, she I don't know, she, like, pulls back. She doesn't feel she doesn't look like she's comfortable talking to people. She's doing that thing where her eyes are wide open. I don't think she's actually actively listening here. Someone said that she might have been batting her eyelashes in that way because or she may have been batting her eyes that way because maybe the eyelashes were getting stuck. I don't know. Um, but the look is definitely kind of scary. Careful, if you snap your fingers, you might transport to Disneyland. If only, Steve, if only. I wish I could. Mask slip, yeah. Tendrils of doom, Drimble says. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And finally, let's go to the last video I had prepped for you. In this one, this is the famous one where she pushes him forward and he looks back like, What just happened?" So we can see this is the beginning of Harry's confusion. I want to say maybe not the beginning of it, but at this point he has no idea what is going on. I mean, if we look at this clip where he's just so, where do I stand? Where do I go? Now he's learned that he doesn't go first ever. And now he knows that when there's a tap on his back, it's his wife pushing him. Yeah. Yeah, let's see. How are you all doing in the comments? Yeah, Zelania, she's always thinking, I'm a duchess. I'm a duchess. Yeah. Megan looks deeply confused by people not speaking about her to her. Yeah. Megan is an extension of Harry. He is an appliance. I believe he is an extension of her for sure. That's how she sees him. Yeah. He didn't need guidance. He's been doing this his whole life. Yeah. Right there in front of the PM. Yep. Right there. Well, you guys, thank you so much for being here. This was a lot of information, I think, all at once. It was a great live stream. I'm going to try to do this again tomorrow. I may not be able to do it on Wednesday, but I'm going to aim to do another one tomorrow. So, how many days has it been that I've started this? Since last Thursday, I think. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 5 days. We've done this 5 days in a row. So, I think we have some regulars here. And as I think maybe as I'm doing them with more regularity, more people are joining, which is great. I love it. I love it. I want to thank you all so much for being here. I appreciate all of you so much. If you could please, on your way out, please hit the like button. I appreciate it greatly. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, rest of your evening. And in Australia, as is getting ready for the morning, I hope you have a good tomorrow. So thank you so much, everybody, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.